Hi, Dave. Hope you're well, and welcome to a discussion regarding learning, education, and I'll open the floor for your introduction. So, what would you like to tell about yourself today?
Well, hello, good to be here. Thanks for inviting me to come on. So I'm Dave Ferreira. I'm the provost over at Charter Oak State College. Charter Oak State College is Connecticut's public online college. We're part of the Connecticut State College and University system, and been in higher education now for about 20 years, and started as an academic advisor, and then worked my way through different components between Connecticut, Florida, and South Carolina, but also started my career in Maryland. So I've had a little bit of perspectives of a couple different states and see what works, what doesn't work, and the differences from community to community.
Got it. So, in all those years, there's an impressive, diverse, and very scattered experience from a lot of states and cities. So, can you tell me any major highlight about what you achieved and what you learned through that achievement in your experience?
Yeah, well, I really came into higher education because I wanted to pursue a career where I could actually make impact on people's lives. And, post-secondary education is still that kind of tried and true path of how you can help people go with upward mobility for not only just a job, but a career with a livable wage. And that's really kind of been at the heart of what I've been looking to do. I think some of the most rewarding moments in my career has really been from a twofold perspective. First is actually with the development of our faculty and staff and helping them achieve their goals. At the end of the day, education, and particularly higher education, is still a very much human-centric industry, and people is what really make the organizations run. And so, there's an example when I was working at one of the colleges, had a staff member, their lifelong goal was to be a faculty member. They tried, 3, 4, 5 times for that position, and they were kept on coming in as second place. Working with him, to kind of coach and things like that. And then he finally, at the last time, he goes, "This is the last time I'm doing this." And he was able to actually get that position, fulfill his career goal. And it's something not just for his own personal goal, but also what it meant for his family as well. And so anything in regards of working with our folks in higher education to help them meet their personal goals is really a career highlight for me. And then I would say the other component is onto our student side. And especially working at Charter Oak. At Charter Oak, in particular, average age of our student is 36. About 43% are on Pell, 78% work full-time.
36 average age, so can you please dig down deeper?
Yeah, because we're an online institution, we tend to cater to students that are in, they're in the workforce, but they're maybe pursuing their second career or making a career pivot through time. So while our fastest growing demographic in online education is under 25, our average age of our student is really 36. And that's where our piece for critical prior learning also comes in. But on that student side, these are folks that are working hard, they're working full time, they attend in our online classes, after the kids are put to bed and things like that. About half of our students are parents. So at graduation time, it's a party, it's fun, it's a vibrant atmosphere. And the most favorite phrase I hear from the crowd when our students come in and receive their diploma is, "That's my mom." And that's really cool because normally at graduation, it's the parent that's cheering on the child. And over at our graduation, a lot of times you'll actually hear the child cheer on their parent. And so that's a very much personally fulfilling component, is that when you see the impact it has not only on the person graduated, but the impact that it has on their family, whether it be a child with their parent or parent with their child, or significant other and things like that. That's really what makes our job really worth it and where we consider our success.
Wow, that's super impressive. And can I join that party as a visitor one day?
Oh, yeah, definitely. We're over in Hartford, and we have it in a nice big theater, and it's known to be a really loud and raucous crowd. And so definitely come on up anytime with us. And we do have some people that just kind of join us just because
yes. Would like to receive the invite. Yep. So the thing is, actually, the point you just highlighted, it's a very noble cause. helping people in their lives. So that was your main goal, and that's very noble, I must say that. So how much of this like success, how much of this relation of 36 average age and kids coming to their parents and father and mother graduation ceremonies, how much do you owe this to online learning?
Yeah, well, online learning is the great equalizer, and we take great pride in making sure that we have a quality online learning experience, industry-driven curriculum, because that's really that's so crucial is that they don't come to us for the coming of age experience. We don't have dormitories. We don't have athletics. That it's very much about can you get me the content that I need to know to make sure that I am a vibrant member of our community and a vibrant member of our 21st century workforce. So as long as you're able to cater to that, and then also when you do design your curriculum, it's about tell me what I need to know. It's very much everything should have a very much intentional purpose and a clear connection to what their career ambitions are. If you can contextualize that content, that they know where that leads towards that light at the end of the tunnel, it makes the big difference in the world. And I said, and this is, as I mentioned, the great equalizer, because maybe they can't make it to campus on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 4 p.m. Or for those not even just and adults, for those who maybe don't have transportation, or those that have accessibility issues. Let's say they can't drive a car, or they're going through some health issues, and so they need to make sure that they have that environment there. There are a multitude of reasons why, and that's also why we're seeing it also from the younger person side as well. As I mentioned, our fastest growing demographic is under 25, because one of the things I've actually noticed that's a little bit different than it was maybe 5 or 10 years ago is my 40-year-old student is not really different than my 23-year-old student.
What made you say that?
Yeah, because they're both working. Right? They maybe just a little bit of a different job, but they're both working, would be 25, 30 or 40 hours a week because inflation, right? Things are expensive. So you got to work while you go to school. And also at the same time, it's about, tell me about that return on investment. I'm giving you money, but what are we going to make sure that we're going to get on the other side? So I noticed that that's a little bit different when I think the younger generation is a little bit more ROI and cost conscious than some previous generations, and so it's making that connection that really makes a big difference too.
Yes, I got it. So, would you like to shed some light on any struggle you had in your overall career, and explaining this online learning thing to people?
So, one of the things as far as kind of a struggle, and I would say is as you go through a higher education career, is when things don't work out, and how do you actually make that as a lesson learned through it. And one of the lessons learned I had is about making sure that the organization that you are with aligns with your values. And to give a sports analogy, because I'm a big sports fan, is about you can be a really good player, but if you're a really good player that's playing the wrong position or in the wrong system, if let's say you're a 4-3 defensive end if you're playing football, but they stick you into a 3-4 outside linebacker, you're playing the wrong position, even though you may really be good, or you're just in the overall wrong system. You really need to make sure, don't just take a job to take a job. Make sure that organization that you're with aligns with your particular values. If your particular value is that you really want to work with students doing heavy duty research at an R1 university, we need that. Though that's really great. Make sure that you align yourself to work at that R1 research university. If you're a person who's like, I'm about open access, I'm about making sure that I can be, there for that student and be that difference maker in that scenario, and approach it in a different way. Like knowing that our online student, there might be some evening times, there might be some weekends that come about of it, and also modes of communication. I'm going to have to be comfortable on Google Meets or Zoom or whatever. That's really crucial that you kind of do, is make sure that what you pursue is also in there with your passion, because often tell folks that I'm interviewing is, I can teach you whatever skills, but I can't teach you passion. If you're not passionate about the students that we serve, it's probably not going to be the best situation for you. And also about where is that organization going, making sure that your values are aligned where the organization is going.
Got it. I completely understand. And that passion thing, I completely agree with that. Where are you going? Organizations and individuals and students, everyone should know what they want to achieve from something, whatever they're doing actually. So, like you've talked about the struggles, but you can tell me one thing which worked really well and you're really happy about students and the whole community and your college appreciating about online learning. So anything which you would like to shed light on?
Yeah, so I'm going to say that we're really proud is that over the past 2 years, we've actually grown our enrollment. We grew it, 13% 2 years ago, then 14% this past year. So we're in a nice upward mobility trend over here. So that's really good. And then the other piece of online learning that has been really exciting is that, especially prior to the pandemic, there were a lot more people and folks in higher education and even businesses and employers that had a little bit of a negative perception of online. Is it the same quality? Is it less than? And we went through the pandemic and we found that, well, no, when you were forced to kind of go through it, it's good, yes. Right? And the rigor is the same, or even sometimes a little bit harder. And so what we're noticing from business and industry as we're out there is they're not making that differentiation between online and on ground. So I think that's also a game changer when it comes into career prospects for students that pursue online education. Is that if it's the way that it works for you and it works best, guess what? It's not going to impact your career aspirations or your employment prospects. So I think that's been a really positive development. That's probably part of the reason why we're starting to see this growth each year in online education. Post-pandemic, some of the traditional universities are going to offer it less and less because they're wanting to get back to where they were. But our institutions that are exclusively online or institutions that are adding online programs, they are seeing that is where their growth trajectory is.
I understand that. As per my experience, in today's world, I can safely say that content is king. It's very important. Because when I see ads of online learning in my social media posts and feeds, I always see that they lack content. They lack the motivation to open those channels. So what do you think about, is the industry doing enough? Are the teachers doing enough to produce relevant content which people will get interested into and they would love to see that? So yeah. Because you just said that people are not able to differentiate between online and in person, so it's about content as well in my view. So what's your thought on that?
Yeah, content, as you mentioned, content is so crucial here. And one of the things that's different in higher education compared to even 5 or 10 years ago is that the rate of change and the pace of innovation has gone through the roof. It's so rapid now. We no longer have the ability to just form a committee to study something for a year or two and things like that. No, we need to sometimes
it's agile. It's agile, Yeah.
Yep, it's being agile. It's identifying, form a rapid task force, test pilot, then look to scale shortly thereafter. Curriculum is changing so rapidly that those changes, it's difficult, but that's where technology solutions and partnerships really play a key role in this, which is, I was actually speaking to a faculty member a few days ago and saying, you know what, it's so difficult now to try to keep up with the rate of change of the curriculum in this field. And so, that's where working with industry relevant curriculum partners, where they keep up to date with that curriculum, working with the faculty member, but they provide that updated curriculum. Because if you're on a technology program, if you teach something in technology, if you're not updating your curriculum every 1 to 2 years, you're quickly falling behind. But even those that are not even technology programs, where if you have a marketing professor, right? AI has disrupted marketing and sales more than software development. And so how am I changing my curriculum to be up to date with those up-to-date techniques? And what industry partners can I work with to help guide me? Because you can't do it on your own. Some people, when we talk about in particular AI, they're like, how do I keep pace with all the changes that are going on in AI? And the answer is you can't. But there are specific one or two thought leaders or organizations that you can work with that'll 80-20 this thing for you so that you can keep up to date with what's the most relevant changes. And so I think that's where really the solutions are going to lie is what are your partners and organizations and that you can work with to help you as we go through this rapid change.
Right. So, my plan was to bring you to this subject without me saying. Okay.
Yep.
So, as you know, we have made this product FastLearner.ai, which is an AI-based learning management platform. It is almost exactly solving the same problem you just highlighted. It is helping instructors and creators create the course content really quickly with the help of AI, and also it is helping students to learn from the course as if they're talking to the teacher. So the AI is helping them get answers from within the content. So before they're reaching out to the instructor, AI will help them through the content. So this is what we have made. So what do you think? How much important it is for the industry right now? What value product like this will add to your kind of institute? So if you would like to shed some light on that.
Yeah, I think platforms like these, they can be your partner in education, not your competition. Frequently in higher education, when something comes out, it's like, okay, there's this other thing, and a student can maybe do it on their own, or is this no, it can actually, you can look at it either as your competition or as your collaborator. And I think we need to look at it as our collaborator. For example, using AI to create content for your coursework, the human is still in the loop. When you talk about how do you actually interact with that, because that subject matter expert is still there, but it helps with that first draft, and also it can help you with the iteration process so that you produce something that's better than if the AI created it on its own or the human created it on its own. And also really key that I saw that you have there is about creating that personalized learning paths for the instructor-led content. Is to keep a system with your content again with keeping with the teaching that makes it up to date and relevant, and also at the same time, that those that are currently employed and need to upskill or reskill to keep their career relevant, this actually is that solution. It doesn't necessarily have to be our traditional, full academic program path. Can we do that through a micro-credential process? That could be consumed not only through the instructor-led content, but also self-paced, or that hybrid human AI piece that you mentioned as the example. That with this technology, it's what I call democratizing education, and it gives students, prospective students, their customized path to what they need within their budget that they do have in mind. And so I think that's the really, crucial piece. And what I tell my folks in higher education when they worry about, is this going to replace their job? I said, no, it's not going to at all. Because we always talk about in education that we don't have enough people. Well, this is going to assist you so that you can actually do the things you've been wanting to do. I met with my academic advisors, and I said, look, take a look at everything that you do that's transactional. That's going to be done by AI. Everything that's done that's transformational, that's still going to be the human. So take an inventory of what's transactional or tier one. Take a look at if you get the same question 10 different times from 10 different students, that's transactional for the instructor. No, the instructor is still there for those components, that higher level type of thinking. So that's where I think that type of partnership that you mentioned really comes into play and a benefit to the institution such as Charter Oak.
Awesome. So we are looking forward to those very soon. Also, like for some time, there is this debate going on that AI will replace humans around all that stuff. So I do a lot of events, I visit a lot of events, and there was this very interesting quote. I listened to it and I loved it. It said, AI will not replace humans, but AI will replace those humans who don't know how to use AI. Yeah. So, that's on the cards, basically.
Yeah, I mean, even, you've seen these reports. PwC, I think, came out with a phenomenal report, which is that, yes, there might be a need for less people in certain industries, but those that are going to be in those industries, there's actually going to be a nice wage premium. I'll give an example. Software developers, right? We are revamping our bachelor's in science and software development, where we're inserting an AI practitioner certificate within the curriculum. So our students, when they graduate, when they have that level of skill, is going to have a 30% wage premium. So when I go to recruit students, I'm like, hey, look, we're keeping on top of the curriculum so much so that you will graduate with a 30% wage premium over your competition, over the person who goes to the university down the street, right? So that's where we have to take a look at and focus on, which is there are going to be tons of software developers. The other component too is that we have an employment shortage right now, especially here over in Connecticut. We literally don't have enough people for the jobs. This is going to help solve that as well, which is, everyone is going to be more productive. And because with that productivity, though, comes increases in wages. And so I think we need to focus on those positives, but also be prepared that, in my job, there are going to be things that will be fundamentally different and I will no longer have to do. So I do have to reimagine my position. I'll give an example. I have an administrative assistant. My administrative assistant's quickly hopping on board with the AI component. So has an AI note taker. So guess what? No longer needs to take meeting minutes or notes or spend as much time on that, spends less time on that. That person still exists, but what they do, 50% of their job has fundamentally changed.
Yes, I completely understand that. So we have talked about a lot of serious stuff. So let's talk about something fun. Like if you would like to share, what do you do for fun, like as a hobby or on weekends? So any activities you're fond of other than education and this high school thing?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, definitely. During the week, it's a lot of time, a lot of stress. So, trying to get to the gym over on the weekends. That's one thing is try to keep yourself healthy, through this process. And also at the same time, lounge time with the dog. I have a bulldog that is, very happy just to lounge and do nothing. But also at the same time too is any type of travel experience to go out there. Especially the goal is to try to visit a new country every year, and totally a foodie as well. So try to explore, definitely new foods too.
Yeah. So I was just thinking of something, and it was thinking of a food brand. So I thought, this word foodie is overused. So I was thinking of the word fooder. So we can...
It is true. Yeah, the word foodie is starting to get overused. Yeah.
Yeah. So how many countries you have traveled to?
Oh, I think now probably been about 8 or 9. I have to think off the top of my head. But the goal now is we're in this situation is, can we do one for each year for the next year? So if I have, let's say I have 40 years left at this, can I at least reach 50 countries?
Yes.
And maybe even something on each continent. Yes. I got to get to Antarctica someday.
That's a very good goal to have. I have done so far 11 countries. So I also love traveling. I've done 11 countries and almost 45 cities.
Oh, wow.
I do nature and wildlife photography. So, and also food. So which country, food impressed you? Which one was the best for food?
Ooh. Okay. Let's see here. That's a great question. They're all so unique in going to it, but I think for the most eclectic, I have to go South Africa, but but then also I'm a huge person for tacos, burritos, anything Mexican. So going to Mexico and trying out all those different things there was a lot of fun.
And what was the most beautiful beach or hike you have done? Which country impressed you with the views actually?
Ireland. It is. Ireland is, yeah. So I used to be a person who was like, send me to the tropics and try to go ahead into the beach, but eventually blue water and sand kind of starts to meld together. Going over to Ireland and just taking a ride through the Irish countryside, probably felt the most at peace. And so
so it was very green.
Oh yeah. When they say that level of green, you really don't know until you actually get there.
Oh, now I get it, So because in recent years about Ireland, but now I can, think about it. And because I have yet to touch Europe. So Europe is completely, I've never visited that. I've seen Far East Asia, and Middle East. I've seen US, 14 cities in US and a lot of other countries. But, I can put Ireland on my list. So, what do you think? What's the future of online learning, and how you see things shaping up in the next 5 to 10 years on online learning?
Yeah, within the next 5 to 10 years, there's a couple things I see both in online education, but then I would probably say in education overall. is I think that the liberal arts education versus technical education debate is no longer going to be relevant or exist. Because, for example, we're inserting a philosophy course in our AI practitioner certificate because the human skill of ethics is needed when building AI technology. Likewise, as a liberal arts person, I'm actually a political scientist by background. I'm a liberal arts guy. What I would have done had I gone back in time 20 years ago as a student is I would have done a micro-credential in data analytics to round out my liberal arts education. The reason for that, I was in campaigns and elections, before I got into higher education, being able to look at the voter trends and analysis and predictive analytics of who's going to vote in that district or that area is such a huge piece for a political scientist. So if I had to go back in time, I would have taken a data analytics certificate.
Wow.
Going around. So what I kind of give the analogy for is I think in education, we have liberal arts education and we have technical education, and consider those like two parents. Well, these two parents are going to go ahead and have a baby, and that baby's going to have the DNA of both as we move into these new programs into the future. I think that's going to be really important. And then also, I think we're going to really stop this higher education argument of, are we building good citizens or are we building workforce ready workforce? You know what? What makes a good citizen is also what makes a good worker.
You should make both. Make both.
It's both. It's learnability, respect, and emotional intelligence, being able to communicate with various audiences, interacting with people in a global society, being ethical in your actions and your decisions, and being able to critically analyze good information from bad information. That honestly is what makes a good citizen, but also what makes a good worker. So why are we having the debate of the point of higher education? But if you focus on those future of work skills, you're going to have good workers and good citizens. So I think let's stop that debate. Again, that kind of piggybacks off that liberal arts versus technical. I think where we're headed is something that will satisfy both.
Yeah. So I don't think, in my point of view, it's not even a debate, it's about balance. I have also published a book recently on the subject of sales, and I have put all my years of experience into that book. And in that book, I've talked about balance. You should be good as an individual for the society, and you should be good as a worker. Like you have to do both. It goes hand in hand. So as a political science worker or passionate about it, how excited are you for the next week?
Oh, I cannot wait for the election to be over with so that I can stop getting phone calls about campaigns. I'm looking forward to getting phone calls about extending my car's warranty. Like that's how much I'm, but living in a state that's not competitive is not as bad. I've been speaking to colleagues who live in Pennsylvania and Georgia and things like that, and they're like, Dave, it is so overrun with these political advertisements.
I'm so sure about it.
Yeah, so I'm a political geek, and so I kind of love studying these trends. But we've also just got done going through. I think probably this is the weirdest election in United States history. Through obviously between candidates and candidate changes and everything else that went on this election cycle, and it's also been the longest in American history, but then also one of the shortest because of the changes in candidates. So it's great to study as a political scientist, but when you get towards this end, and also I remember when I was a campaign worker as well, when you get to this stage of the election, you're tired. You're just like, okay, let's just get through.
Let's get over with this.
But at the same time, we may not know who's president for maybe even upwards of a week till after the election. So we might have a couple weeks left as opposed to a week.
I got it. So, any final words about the product Fast Learner and how you see that product, attaching with your existing offering and your technology?
Yeah, with Fast Learner, I think. Specifically on with the AI, with the content development, that is such a crucial piece that we have over in online education. That's where we spend a significant amount of time. So, and actually I was talking to a colleague of mine earlier today, and we were talking about, is there a way to speed up the process? And I said, yeah. I think there is a way to speed up the process, but also what we have to do is reimagine our roles in that course development process. Can it be where an instructional designer might also help the subject matter expert with creating a draft of that content? Because, you don't necessarily need to be a subject matter expert in political science to at least get a rough draft of something with like an American government course. So I think it's reimagining what are the roles with everybody and understanding where the human is in the loop. As long as you're clear where the human in the loop is, I think it's crucial. But then also, as I said, I think the other area that's super important is about you mentioned about the AITA, and what's the value, especially in online education. The students are in the classroom, in your online classroom at 11:30 at night. Your instructor is probably not in the classroom at 11:30 at night. It may not be. So think about that's, again, where it is a supplement to you. It is not the replacement. But that's the value add, because our students lead busy lives. And how can you help get them at least tier 1 or tier 2 level answers, and meet them where they are? So I think that's the real value that you can see in something like Fast Learner.
And also in our product, we have AI generated summaries feature so that students can, one night before the exam, they don't want to go through the whole stuff. AI will help you get it very quickly. And it also has a recommendation engine. The thing you just highlighted that, instructor, it's not necessary that instructor is in the class. Instructor can be sitting in another time zone. And the students who are available in the night because of their day jobs, they can do the learning in the night. So it's that kind of flexibility which our product is offering. And with that, I would like to thank you so much, Dave, for your time. And it was nice chatting. And we'll stay connected because I have seen that you are a foodie, you're a fooder, and you are a traveling expert. And I also have my point of views on global politics. So we'll definitely be talking more, and we'll have a chat around Fast Learner as well very soon. So thank you very much, dear, for coming.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it. Appreciate it.